Ladies and gentlemen, it finally happened. I have encountered a take from Hummus Pickles that is, for the most part, factually correct. Just like how it's extremely rare for Moist Critical to have a bad take, Hummus speaking facts happens once in a blue moon. Mr. Pickles went full pirate folk mode and claimed that the One Piece arc, Wano, is ass. Booty cheeks.
Dude, I'm not watching One Piece. I'm watching One Piece again. But let me tell you, okay? Wano is fucking ass, okay?
Now don't get me wrong, I suck off this series hard. When Moist Critical criticized One Piece that one time, I was seething with rage and anger. The beast inside me was almost unleashed. How dare he insult one of my favorite stories of all time. Everyone's supposed to like what I like. My actual problem with Charlie though was that he was complaining about the pacing of East Blue arcs while he was watching the anime, and a very easy fix to this is to read the manga in order to escape those anime pacing issues that, in my opinion, don't really appear until Dressrosa. Whole Cake Island is still a peak arc though. Anyways, Hummus has a similar complaint, and usually my go-to answer for One Piece pacing issues is to read the manga, but unfortunately I cannot do that to justify the pacing, because his complaints are directed towards Wano, which is an arc that does indeed have egregious pacing issues whether you're watching the anime or reading the manga. So let us listen what he has to say.
Dude, I'm not watching One Piece. I'm watching One Piece again. But let me tell you, okay? Wano is fucking ass, okay? You shouldn't have to swim through piss and shit for like 8 days straight with like reused assets, reused sound assets, reused scenes over and over again. The same fucking beast squad fighting against the samurai over and over again as I hear Queen scream the same fucking words over and over again a million times over. Like Wano is an arc that I suspect is even long in the manga. It is entirely too fucking long in the anime. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. It's like unacceptable. I'm serious. Like it should not feel like a trek. It should feel like a journey that you're excited every episode.
This is also one of my biggest gripes with Wano, and this is coming from someone who read Wano as opposed to watching it, so it's not really a Toei issue, but they certainly didn't help. Reading Wano during the first 2 acts felt like a chore. I will say this, the Odin backstory was fun because it was a cohesive, straightforward story. It also revealed a lot of interesting lore, but outside of that, there were way too many side characters with names I could not remember, because a lot of these side characters had very complex Japanese names. It was very difficult following the story when names are thrown around and I can't remember who's who. So I had to reread the first 2 acts of Wano, and usually I don't mind rereading stories I've already read, but I was doing it because I felt like I missed a ton of shit, not because I wanted to experience a fun story again. Again, I'm not going to ignore the good or the positives of Wano because there definitely are some ups, but I was questioning whether waiting for those positives was worth it.
I'm sorry, it's just 100% true. And if anyone has a fucking problem with that, like, okay, you're a dick rider, okay?
Normally I'd be annoyed by Hasan's pompous attitude, but he is on the mark here. Wano's pacing is disgusting. I'm a One Piece dick rider, but even I cannot disagree with this sentiment. To be fair to Toei, they had a lot on their plate to animate. Oda was the one who decided to throw in a shitload of characters, and Toei is the one who had to get the voice actors and animate all of them. Oda added so many characters, it prevented character arcs that we actually care about from being completed, or having complete missed opportunities like for Zoro. One of the biggest examples of this is a new character who was introduced in Wano, and a very controversial character in the fan base, Yamato. Yeah, the chick who was introduced in Act 3 of Wano.
Excuse me, but Yamato's pronouns are he, him.
Fuck off. Yamato wasn't a victim of Toei. She is 100% Oda's fumble. The only 2 things I ever see people discuss when it comes to Yamato is the whole is she trans debate and a bunch of dudes cooming to her side boob. Because other than that, she really has nothing of substance to offer, and she feels like an incomplete character. Yamato, well, first and foremost, she was introduced in the 3rd act of Wano, way too fucking late in the game. She never gets over her identity crisis and obsession of Odin. She doesn't join the Straw Hats at the end of the arc, after it being teased multiple times, and she spends most of the arc doing miscellaneous quests. Oda added so many characters that it virtually made important characters like Yamato useless and poorly written.
So, Toei fucking pissing me off, dude. Using the same goddamn sound assets since 1975, like since literally the beginning of anime, dude. They've been using the same fucking sound assets. Like, this is not a joke. They straight up are using the same fucking sound assets from Dragon Ball, okay? It is the most unacceptable thing I've ever seen or heard. It's like, dude, add some fucking sounds. Like, are you insane? Are you kidding me? Bro, come on, dude. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. I don't want to hear the same slipper run noise over and over again every fucking episode. It makes me go crazy. It's like triggering fucking autism in my brain.
Even though I said reading the manga isn't necessarily a solution to avoid terrible pacing, it is a solution to refrain from hearing Dragon Ball sound effects in One Piece, which besides the pacing seems to be Hasan's biggest gripe with the show. But honestly, the Toei sound effects are the least of the show's worries, and it's not the studio's fault. Again, it's easy to point fingers at an animation studio that's been dogpiled on for years when the real culprit is an author who's beloved by many. And to also be fair to Toei, they really stepped up their animation game in the final act of Wano. Now granted, I do believe it's a bit over the top for One Piece, like every attack and fight felt like a Dragon Ball Z sequence, when the fights in One Piece should be a bit more grounded. Once in a while you can throw in a galaxy impact, but not for every attack. And I guess my other issue with Wano animation is that it's also incredibly difficult to understand what is happening in a lot of the fighting sequences. I can't really appreciate the animation when it's a combination of fast-paced fighting, blending art, and flashing lights all together. In contrast to the Egghead arc, the fight sequences are also very fluid, but easier to digest. I can actually tell what's happening in these scenes. While the shading and coloring in the Wano arc is dark and thick, Egghead has a lighter color palette and less color shading, which makes it easier for the audience to appreciate the actual choreography. Anyways, Hasan's complaints are sound. He's also a firm believer of Mihawk being a fraud.
No, bro, Mihawk is a fucking fraud, dude. Mihawk is not even in the standing, bro. Get out of here.
So he gets some bonus points for that. Thankfully, Egghead was a step up from Wano.